Hey, what's happening, Facebook? Good to see you all. Well, you can see me. This video is basically all about personally how I set my goals, or how I have come to set my overall goal, which is kind of this first phase, if you like, of my journey that I'm going to be taking you guys on. And I know that there's a million and one things written about your goal setting and you know how you decide on what you're going to do on a daily occurrence. This all came about, or how I set my own goals now came about as a result of a conversation that I actually had about 3 years ago with someone I used to work with. And we were just I was talking to him and I was saying how I felt a bit aimless. And that is like one of the worst things as an entrepreneur or a business owner or somebody that wants to be successful. Not having a focus or an aim is really just, it's like having a flat tire on your car. You can't go anywhere and it kind of drags you down and you end up procrastinating quite a lot. And I was kind of complaining about this and saying that I just didn't really have any directional focus in my life at the moment. So, and what he said to me was, he said, well, you know, what do you want? And I said, I kind of just want to be free to do what I want to do when I want to do it. I've never had this ambition to be like a millionaire or a billionaire or, you know, have a private jet or anything, that kind of stuff. You know, it'd be cool, but, you know, where do you park the private jet? But, it's always been about spending time with the people that I love and doing and things that I love and having fantastic experiences. And he said to me, well, look, how much do you earn, if you don't mind me asking? And I told him, and he said, you know, and does that cover all of your outgoings? I said, yeah, and then I've got some left over as well. And so we had this kind of like monthly figure, net figure, after all my taxes had come out and everything, that came into my bank account every single month, and I knew that would cover me. So it wasn't my gross pay, it was my net pay that would cover me for the month. And he said, okay, and if you wanted to go on holiday once every 3 months, how much extra would you need to earn? And I said, well, okay, well, this amount. And we finally came up with this monthly figure of what I would need to earn, which you can then obviously times by 12, and it becomes an annual figure that I needed to earn. I added in my other half's income, her income that she had at the time, and I now had a really precise figure that I could aim for that would mean that both Emily and I would be completely financially free and actually wouldn't have to work. If we could somehow find a way of generating that money, we'd be okay. So I've had that figure sort of in my mind for quite some time now. It's grown a little bit, I must admit, in the last year or so. You know, with expenditure coming out for the wedding that we had last year, which is insane. I wouldn't change any of that for the world. And we obviously had an amazing honeymoon to Canada as well, which was just exceptional. And if you ever get the chance to go to Canada, please do. And so we had this, I now have this kind of figure in mind of where I need to be. And this is where this kind of, this part of my journey has begun. Because I've got that fixed in my mind, I can now project that into the future and work backwards to figure out how I'm going to achieve that. Now, for the purposes of this, these videos and my podcast, you know, I've simplified it and I've rounded it up to £100,000. And what I mean by that is not just £100,000 of income per year, but also £100,000 worth of passive income that can be built through assets. And I'll sort of break that down for you. So I need to, task number one is to build a business online that generates £100,000 a year. That will mean that I, you know, part-time. You know, my podcast is the Part-Time Entrepreneur's Playbook, after all. So that's what keeping my 9 to 5, because I'm really passionate about what I do. I don't necessarily want to give up my job. I just don't want to be, you know, tied down by it. If I wanted to take some time out, I could then. And I know Emily would be much happier if she didn't necessarily have to work anymore. So so the £100,000 of income is non-passive. It's something that I'm going to work on and will have to continue working on. But it's and if any of you have read Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Work Week, it's generated through a very short period of time that you need to outlay per month. So that's kind of stage one, to create an online business that generates me £100,000 worth of income, because then if I wanted to give up my job, which I don't, but if I wanted to, then I could. That's great. So by doing that, I've got my own income. I work full time. So all of this other income, until I reach that 100,000, and I will be doing this using sales funnels, by the way. And for those of you that don't know what they are, I'm going to go into a bit more detail on future episodes. So, but I'm going to use sales funnels as my online business structure to create this £100,000. And basically, anything that I earn on my way to that, I'm going to reinvest into online ads, Facebook ads, that kind of stuff, to continually drive more and more traffic until I am getting that £100,000. Once I've got that, then I can extract money from the business and put it into buying income generating assets. And for those of you that have read Rich Dad Poor Dad, you'll completely understand this philosophy of what an income generating asset is, and also how sometimes an individual can't afford to buy those assets, but a business can. So the business will be creating an income that will allow me to then go and buy these income generating assets, which, because of my background, is probably going to be property. 99% will be property. And what it means is that hopefully I should be able to beat off some of my competition. Now there's a sort of a mantra in property investment, which is money in, money out. It basically means you can purchase a property under market value, you can do some work to it, increase the value of it, and then refinance it, i.e. put a mortgage on to pay off any debt that you've got that would pay off everything that you've put back in. So technically your investment is an infinite return on investment. Now, because there's not many of those kinds of deals around, because they're very difficult to structure and they're very time consuming, it's hard to get them. And I thought to myself, is it worth it? Is it worth me putting the time and effort? And I'm going to miss out on potentially fantastic opportunities for investments if I limit myself just to those that I can get all of my money back out within a 6-month period of time. So this is how I came up with the idea of actually generating an income elsewhere that would pay for those to purchase those assets. And obviously, I've said the £100,000 is the goal for the online business, but the goal also is to create £100,000 worth of passive income from these income generating assets. And that's it. That's kind of the 3-year-ish plan is to get to that sort of period. So the purpose of these videos and the purpose of my page and the purpose of my podcast is so that you guys can follow along on this journey, and hopefully I can share tips, hints and tips and ideas and show you what I'm doing, so you can take that into your own plans to you'll all have your own different goals that you want to hit. But that's just how I kind of have structured my goals, because I know that by achieving both of those, I will be 100% financially free, and hopefully I'll be able to look after my parents and stuff like that. It's not a huge amount of money in the grand scheme of things. I may well be a millionaire by then. Who knows? I don't really care about that title at all. But what it does mean is that I'll be in control of my own life, and that's what my goal ultimately is. So that kind of gives you a bit of an insight into how I've worked that out. I'm going to go into more detail on this over the coming weeks and months. Obviously, as you follow me along on my journey. And hopefully I'll get there even before my target date. And I'll also go into a bit more detail as to how I've structured that and how I've broken down that goal and how I do project that into the future, and I scale it back and work out effectively daily what I need to do. Because ultimately, if you can get to a point where you can formulate daily goals and keep your eyes on the prize, but actually do something constructive every single day to get you towards your goal, that's when you're going to achieve. Take action every single day. That's possibly the most important advice I could ever give anyone. If you have a goal in mind, just figure out what you could do that day within the next 12 hours to move you slowly, if need be, further towards your goal. I literally just couldn't give any better advice than that from my experience. So I hope you found that useful. I will, like I said, continue to update you on my progress, and if you want to comment on this video, I'd love to hear from you. Send me a message. I'll update you on when the podcast's actually going to be launched soon, and I've also got some awesome more special offers to chuck your way. I know I've been throwing some stuff at you recently, but there's a lot more in the pipeline. So do follow along. I'm really looking forward to going on this journey with you guys. I will catch you on the next video. Have an awesome day.